at the half-head model here. And of course, this has structures that pertain to both the respiratory system as well as the digestive system. If you can't see where you are, you might want to go over where you're kind of more looking straight on to the models here. So first off, we have the nasal cavity.
Sorry.
And of course, the nasal cavity has the superior nasal concha, the middle nasal concha, and the inferior nasal concha. So these little curved bones here. Their job is to kind of make the air kind of turbulent inside of the nasal cavity so it stalls the air so it can be warmed and moistened with mucus before it goes down into the lungs. At the back of the nasopharynx, which is behind the nasal cavity, we have the opening, the eustachian tube that goes to the middle ear. And so that's what equalizes the pressure on both sides of the tympanic membrane. At the very back of the nasopharynx, this kind of granular looking material here, that represents the pharyngeal tonsil. So the pharyngeal tonsil is found in the back of the nasal cavity. Of course, this is the hard palate, the floor of the nasal cavity and the roof of the oral cavity. And then this is the soft palate behind it, which is the skeletal muscle. And the terminal end of the soft palate is the uvula. So that little dangly projection right there, that's the uvula. Once we get past that, we're into the oropharynx, which is behind the oral cavity. So here's the tongue in the oral cavity. This is the lingual tonsil on the back of the tongue here. And then if we look in the lateral side of the oropharynx, we see the palatine tonsil. So that bump in the back there is the palatine tonsil. So we have the pharyngeal tonsil up here in the back of the nasopharynx. We have the palatine tonsil in the back of the oral pharynx and the lingual tonsil on the base of the tongue. Then we get down into the laryngopharynx. So that's the part right above the larynx. Here's the larynx on the model. So this that opens into both the esophagus, which is the tube, the kind of the narrow tube behind the trachea. And then this is the larynx here. At the top, you can see the epiglottis, this little flap of cartilage. That's the epiglottis that folds down over the larynx when we swallow. And then we have the vestibular folds, and we have the vocal folds, which are the true vocal cords. So vestibular folds are the ones above, and the true vocal cords are the ones a little bit below that. You can see the thyroid cartilage right here, the big cartilage, and right below that would be the cricoid cartilage. And then, of course, you're into the trachea, and you can kind of see the rings and stuff on the sides there for the trachea. So that's kind of the upper structures of the respiratory tract as well as the digestive tract.